All right, so here we're going to use a Punnett square. And I'm going to show you, again, on your notes what to fill in. So just ride with me for a moment, and then I'll show you exactly what to fill in on your notes. No need to rush ahead. Just enjoy the ride. So here we've got this lovely, magically enchanted plant character that I created, which is represented with the two lowercase g's. And then we have the normal growth plant, which happens to, we'll just imagine in this case, has two copies of the dominant gene, two capital G's. And so to use a Punnett square, it's very easy. You bring all of the genes on the top down into the boxes below, and you bring all the genes on the sides across into the boxes this way. So this box is the cross between this gene and this gene, so we get capital G, lowercase g. And this box is the cross between this, and so we get capital and lowercase. And this one is a cross between these two, so we get capital and lowercase, and this one is a cross between these two, so we get capital and lowercase. And in this case, what we can see is that 4 out of 4 possible outcomes will be capital G, lowercase g. Now this does not mean that if these two mate, they will have 4 offspring. This just shows the chances that their offspring will have any particular gene combination. And in this case, there is only one possible gene combination, and that means that 4 out of the 4 possible outcomes will have, dun dun dun, normal growth. But let's imagine now that another generation goes by, and these plants, or plants that have this combination of genes, they mate and they produce offspring. Now we have one plant here with capital G, lowercase g, and another plant here with capital G, lowercase g, and we're going to move the genes across and through the Punnett square to see the different combinations. So this one will be filled in with capital and capital. This one will be filled in with capital and lowercase. This one will be filled in with capital and lowercase, and obviously we can turn them around. We usually just write the capital first, makes it a little easier to see. And then lastly, this one is the lowercase and lowercase. And so the outcome of this cross is 1 out of 4 possibility. The offspring will be capital G, and that will result in normal growth. A 2 out of 4 possibility that the offspring will have capital G, lowercase g, and that will result in normal growth. And a 1 out of 4 possibility that the offspring will have lowercase g, which will result in not normal growth, magical growth. Beautiful, magical growth. Anyway, on your notes page, you can type this in. I made sure to edit the document. You are going to move pencil. You are going to take the letters that represent this trait, the ability to roll your tongue, which the ability to roll the tongue is a dominant, and not being able to roll the tongue is recessive. Dominant traits are represented by a capital, and recessive traits are represented by a lowercase. So we're going to bring this capital T down into the boxes below, and we're going to bring this lowercase t down into the boxes below. And we're going to bring this lowercase t now across to these boxes along the side here, and this lowercase t will come across. And so we can see that if a person who has only one copy of the gene for rolling tongue, that means this person can roll their tongue. If they produce offspring with a person who cannot roll their tongue, then 2 out of 4 of the offspring will be just like this parent and be able to roll their tongue, and 2 out of 4 will not be able to. So what's the difference between the letters and the trait or the ability? Well, the genotype, you can remember gene is the letters, the letter combination. So the two, in this particular case, the two combinations of letters that we ended up with are either capital T, lowercase t, or lowercase t, lowercase t. Those are the only combinations in this particular cross. Another combination that is possible in a different cross would be capital T, capital T. The phenotype is our physical expression. So that's the trait itself. So what that means is, what are the two outcomes, the possibilities for being able to roll a tongue? Well, it looks like 2 out of 4 have the ability to roll. And 2 out of 4 cannot. So the genotype is the actual genes that are passed on, and the phenotype is the physical expression of, or the result of, those genes. Now, let's talk about the terms heterozygous and homozygous as well. Ella, hi. Homozygous and heterozygous. We've seen these prefixes before, right? Hetero means different and homo means same. So if we take a look back up here to our genotypes, we're looking at matches versus mismatches. So this capital T and lowercase t are not the same allele. There's a mismatch here. There are different versions of the gene passed on to this offspring. So we would say that this offspring or this individual is heterozygous. They have 2 different alleles for this particular gene. Whereas if they have a lowercase t and a lowercase t, those are both the same. It doesn't matter which one is expressed, they're the same. And the same with capital T, capital T. It doesn't matter which one is expressed, they are the same. And since we know that homo means same, we would say that this individual is homozygous for this trait. And this individual is homozygous for this trait. So if we're going to do a cross down here for 2 heterozygous individuals, hetero again means different. So I'm going to do, for one parent, I'm going to do 2 different alleles. And for the other parent, I'm going to do 2 different alleles. And then I'm going to do my cross. And the interpretation of this cross here is that 1 out of 4 is homozygous for the dominant allele. 2 out of 4 are heterozygous. And 1 out of 4 is homozygous for the recessive allele. The phenotypes that represents is that 3 out of 4 offspring, or there's a 75% chance that an offspring will be able to roll their tongue, and only 1 out of 4, or 25% chance, that they cannot roll their tongue.